Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's The Con Guy, Comic-Con Prep Show.
Welcome back to The Con Guy Show, your home for news and insider opinions from the world of Comic-Cons, fandoms, and pop culture. This week, we preview the top 10 most important fan conventions coming in 2022. Got added to the list. But first, we bring you the biggest geek news of the week. Plus, Katie gives us a convention update, and Derek engages, get it? The brand new CBS Access series, Picard. We are really excited. First of all, though, we do want to say a special shout out to the people of Los Angeles, of which we are that's where we live. As everybody knows, this week, Kobe Bryant did pass away in a tragic accident. Our hearts, prayers really do go out to his family. 24 will live forever. And the thing that's so interesting about it is Kobe was more than just a sports figure to us. He was part of Los Angeles. Like, if you live in Los Angeles, he wasn't just a basketball player. Kobe was one of us. So we love you, Kobe, and you will be missed. All right, who do we have with us tonight?
Hi, my name's Derek. Oh, thank you. That's so nice every time. I know it's not real, but still, it makes me feel really
There's
nice.
people out in the lobby that are cheering for you.
Yeah, it's great. Okay. Hi, my name's Derek, and I am a contributor to theconguy.com.
And I am Katie, a.k.a. The Con Girl, and I am on the social media for The Con Guy and also a host at AfterBuzz.
Yeah.
And I'm Tom. I'm a professor of cinematic arts at Azusa Pacific University and author of Hailing Frequencies Open Communication on Star Trek The Next Generation.
And I'm Cheeseman on the couch, here with theconguy.com.
I'm excited for this week because this week is, we've been doing it for a couple of years. We are going to be talking about the top 10 conventions in the country that are the can't miss conventions. And I guess if people ask us, well, how do you determine what are the top 10? It's kind of a little bit of a gut feeling, but size, influence, and kind of like the conventions that have the most, eyeballs on it, and the ones that kind of, there are some conventions that cause a lot of news reports, a lot of people are trying to get to them, and there's, believe it or not, there's more than just San Diego and New York Comic Con. So
What?
Get out of town. So anyways, we are going to take you guys through that, and I'm really excited. Katie's going to be debuting a cool new department for us this week, Katie's Updates, and so we'll be getting to that. But first, right up front, I want to say we are missing Ben this week. Ben is out, but Derek is filling in, and he is going to go through the geekiest 3 minutes of the week.
I am also literate. I don't quite have the voice that Ben does, but I will do my best.
Do you have the speed?
Yes, I do.
So what this is, for those of you who this may be your first time watching the show, we try to go through like 3 minutes of geek news of the week. And it's been a couple of weeks since we've been together here, so we do have quite a bit of news that is coming down the pike. And if he doesn't get to all of it, that is fine. So we also have one more person to introduce, the person that kind of keeps us on track.
Yes,
and
the guy who does all the hard work.
Yes, Ryan Nilsson in the booth.
What's up? Did you bring your sunglasses? So if he does it in 3 minutes, you're going to wear them?
I did bring the sunglasses. If he does do it under 3 minutes, I'm going to wear them.
Yes.
In terms of the 3 minute timer, we're going to have a visual component today, but the sound is not there.
Okay.
So,
no worries.
We'll have a 3 minute timer, and I'm going to set that up. Are you all set, Derek? Are you?
I think so. I'm just feel bad for anyone who's only listening to the audio version of this podcast.
Well, this is what's going to happen.
Because they're going to miss out.
Every 30 seconds, I'm going to chime in and go, 30 seconds. Like, I'm going to give you an update.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
That will not be distracting in any way.
Exactly. So that's why I want you to put on those glasses. All right, I'm going to count you in, all right?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Disney Plus and Lucasfilm's Star Wars series starring Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi has been put on hold as the company's attempt at retooling. The effort, in which Ewan McGregor is set to reprise his role as the famed Jedi Knight, was in the throes of pre-production. Apparently, the overall story and the 2 already written scripts were not up to Kathleen Kennedy's liking, and the entire package has been jettisoned. Lucasfilm is now on the hunt for a new writer to pen the series. At the same time, sources say the project is being reconfigured from 6 episodes to 4. Hours after the news broke, IGN caught McGregor at an event, and he told the outlet he did not expect the release of the series would be delayed, but noted filming would shift from this summer to January 2021. Anaconda, the late 1990s animal horror hit, is getting the reboot treatment. Sony's Columbia Pictures is developing an all-new and all-modern take on the cult movie, hiring Evan Doherty, who has worked on such tentpoles as Tomb Raider and Snow White and the Huntsman, to pen the script. The 1997 original followed a documentary film crew in the Amazon that comes across an obsessed hunter looking to find a legendary anaconda. Not content to simply stay in the world of gaming, Atari is getting into the hospitality business. That makes more sense. I'm trying to read fast. With a number of video game-themed hotels throughout the United States. The hotels, the plan is to build 8 of them across America, are expected to be fully immersive, integrating the latest AR and VR technologies, as well as conducive e-sport event spaces. Construction on the first location in Phoenix, Arizona is expected to break ground later this year.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Doctor Who's most popular companion is back. In a shock to fans everywhere, John Barrowman returned to the universe of Doctor Who in the latest episode as Captain Jack Harkness. In Fugitive of the Jadoon, the dashing former time agent and Torchwood operative gave Team TARDIS a solemn warning for the 12th Doctor about a mysterious lone Cyberman before being quickly zapped away. Twitter went wild, and Whovians partied like it was 2007 all over again. When asked if he'll return again, Barrowman said, "Well, I'll just say if I'm asked by the BBC, I'll be back at the drop of a hat, because I love Captain Jack." Oscar-winning filmmaker Robert Zemeckis is fully aboard Disney's live-action remake of its animated classic Pinocchio. He'll direct and co-write the next draft with Chris Weitz for a possible year-end production start. No casting has been confirmed just yet, although Tom Hanks was reportedly being courted to play Pinocchio's creator/father Geppetto.
1 minute.
Is that crazy?
Wow, the world's biggest Baby Yoda is coming to Anime Pasadena in April. Baby Yoda stands at 25 feet tall and is waiting for you to come take a selfie with him. If you are a fan of The Child and want to see the biggest Baby Yoda in the world, then mark your calendars for April 18th and 19th, and that is our 3-minute Geek
Yes!
Roundup in 2 minutes and
Oh,
15
and you know
seconds.
what? I got the
He's got
sunglasses.
Yeah,
the
I see
sunglasses.
it. Okay.
on.
Gotcha.
Katie, what did you hear? That your mouth was dropping
man,
open.
that was a good geeky 3 minutes of
Yeah.
news there,
There's
y'all.
a lot of
I
stuff
did
there.
see on Twitter about John Barrowman coming back.
That's a big
I
surprise.
did not know he came back until I saw the tweet about it.
Yeah.
And I have not watched any of the current Doctor Who.
Yep.
But I'm gonna have to try to get caught up to watch that because he's fantastic and I cannot believe he's
Do
back.
you guys? Does anyone else watch Doctor Who?
I do.
Do you watch it? Did you see that episode?
I'm behind.
Did you?
I'm way
so we
behind.
ruined it for you.
Yes, I'm spoiled, but
But it,
Oh, well.
but
occupational hazard.
but did you hear about the Atari hospitals?
No,
Yeah, the Atari Hospital.
no,
The
that,
Atari hotels.
that is awesome.
Yeah. So I am excited about that. By the way, how many of you did see the original Anaconda from the 1990s?
Long
I did.
time ago. Long time ago.
It was the first time I'd ever seen Jennifer Lopez, and I didn't know who she was until that movie. Yeah.
There's always
I did
room
not
for
find
J-Lo.
John Voight scary. I found it more funny. Me and my friends were like laughing.
Well,
and, like,
It's kind of
part where-
campy.
it's been a long time.
Kind of campy.
And his accent too, like it's been a long time since I've had a woman. He's like say like cheesy lines like that.
But and also Robert Zemeckis directing Pinocchio, and he's trying to.
Interesting.
So are there 2 Pinocchios coming out? The Guillermo del Toro
Yes.
one and then the Disney
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, Guillermo's is going to be different.
I was
That's
gonna
for
say
sure.
that sounds like it's gonna
So
be a
it's
little
just not
different.
Disney.
Yeah.
All right. So we.
Oh, question.
Yes, we have a
So,
question.
regarding Atari's opening a hotel. Has anybody seen this announcement about Nintendo getting a park?
Okay, well that was all.
Is that part of Universal,
Universal
Studios in
announced
Singapore,
it a
right?
while ago. It's
Yeah.
it's coming to Hollywood too. They announced
Oh,
it
it
in
is.
a big thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I believe they finally announced a date, which is what you're talking about.
Where are they going to put it?
that's
They-
what I
It's
saw
part
recently.
of Universal.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's part of Universal.
Where
So.
is there space in Universal Hollywood for
Or is it
more
part of
stuff?
Epic Worlds in Florida?
I don't know where it is in Florida, but it's in multiple parks. They're
Okay,
making
cool.
multiple ones. So yeah.
All right, so we are going to pitch over to a brand new department we got coming this week. It's Katie's convention updates, and we are very excited that Katie's going to fill us in on some stuff. For the record, we do overlook a lot of stuff here, and Katie is drilled into this stuff, so we are very excited for that. All right, we are pitching it to Katie.
All right, so in Katie's convention updates this week, I'm going to be talking about Savannah Animazing Con because that one is coming up this weekend on January 31st to February 2nd. And then I'm going to give a couple real quick updates about WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con. So for people who live in Savannah, that one is coming up this weekend. There's cosplay contest on Saturday and Sunday, 3-day passes, because I do know a lot of people want to know about the price point for conventions. This one will not break the bank. It is $30 for a 3-day pass, so about $10 per a day.
cool.
So obviously it's probably a much smaller convention. Those usually are a little bit cheaper price point, but if you're a new convention goer, these ones are good ways to like kind of dip your feet in the water. If you want just one day, Friday is $10, Saturday is $20, Sunday is $15.
Really good price.
And there is different VIP options available that include like a shirt or different things. And you can all tweet that link out later. But it's $100+ for the VIP depending on which package you get. They're gonna have like a lot of gaming tournaments, a lot of focus for this one, it looked like it was gaming, cosplay, and anime. Those are the 3 main focuses for this one from what it looked like online. There's going to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament at 1:30 on Friday and trivia at 2 o'clock on Friday. So there's a full list of events on the website, but it kind of sounds fun. There's a lot of interactive type things. And then moving on to WonderCon. WonderCon, as you guys know, is April 10th through 12th.
Easter weekend.
Yeah,
Easter
back
again.
to Easter weekend. And it's Fridays $40, Saturday is $40, and Sunday is $24. Badges are still available for all days, I believe. I could not find out otherwise online. So that's a good thing if you guys do want to check that out. That's coming up in April, but it's going to come pretty quickly as you guys are going to hear us giving more updates. And then last but not least, we have started the San Diego Comic-Con updates. You can get your early bird hotel going on right now. And you guys have heard us talk about hotels before, but for this one, it means you can book a non-downtown San Diego hotel right now, but you have to do all paid in full for 4 nights, at least 4 nights. You will not get that money back if you cancel. So it's good if you want to have, you know that you just want to stay somewhere and you don't need to stay downtown. Later on, I'll give you an update when we know when the downtown hotels are going on. And then there are no more badges left, so if anybody is looking for them, unfortunately, they are all sold out. And they are at a pricey $280 for the whole 4-day weekend this year.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the updates for this week. So
Thank you, Katie. We really appreciate that. And what I really love about Katie giving the updates is I'll be right up front. I sometimes overlook like the anime conventions, some of the gaming conventions, and Katie really does try to remind us of that. So thank you so much for that. Speaking of anime, the Pasadena Anime Convention, it's kind of cool that they're going to have the giant baby Yoda out front. I just think that's awesome. So what we are going to do now, we have 2 more sections of the show. Derek's going to lead us into this next section, and then the last half of the show is going to be all about the top 10 conventions across the country. We will touch on WonderCon again. I just spoiled part of our top 10. What? Imagine that. Anyways, there's a brand new show that just debuted this week on CBS All Access. Derek, could you take us into this?
Yes, much anticipated Star Trek Picard, which you might see is written across my shoulder because this is the official Hero Within Picard jacket, which my wife gave me for my birthday. After giving me another Picard jacket for our anniversary, it's, what can I say? I'm a very lucky man.
And was CBS themselves like promoting it somehow, or I thought he's doing something directly with one of the networks, or
When he's talking about he's talking about Tony
Kim.
Tony Kim,
Tony-
Hero Within.
Yeah, Derek Sams, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. By the
Yeah,
way,
that-
we're all wearing Tony Kim's Hero Within clothes tonight, except for Tom.
yeah.
He didn't.
I didn't get the
He didn't know,
memo.
and we didn't plan on this either.
We're just that
Did
in
not
sync
plan this
right
at all.
now.
Like Katie,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah,
got.
I have the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel one. You can't see the back, but it has the logo on the back, and he lines everything. There's so many pockets in these, and he is at pretty much the cons that we talk about, WonderCon,
Yep.
Comic-Con. So, you know, if you like some of this swag, you can buy it there or on his website.
I've got the Batman shirt from Tony and Cheeseman on the couch. What do you have?
I got the Batman hoodie, so it has a nice bat symbol on the back. You can't see that right now, but I just noticed now because she was talking about
There's
pockets.
lots
I
of
have
pockets.
lots of.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I got some pockets here. Yeah.
So
But, yeah.
Tony's got some amazing deals,
flies.
and like Luke was just talking about, and Darrison talking in a minute, he's got a special deal going with the show CBS All Access and Picard right now to get this special jacket that Derek has on. Anyways, Hero Within, we will put the link on our website. Tony's a friend of the show here, so we always like to do a show of love to Tony.
Yeah, so let's actually talk the show,
Yes.
Picard. All right, so first of all, Tom, you already mentioned the book that you wrote.
Yes, I did. And
Yes.
and when Sir Patrick made the announcement at Star Trek Las Vegas 2 summers ago, nobody had any idea what he was going to say.
What
And
announcement?
so what? That he was returning to the future to
Yeah.
reprise the role of Jean-Luc Picard. So it gave me the perfect ending for my book. Seriously. Seriously, it gave me the perfect ending for my book.
So that's in your book?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That is great. So, and you really are the Trek-spert,
Yes.
as I like to say, because, I
Trek-spert.
mean,
Love it.
you know Star Trek trivia well enough that you actually
I
written
wrote
it.
the questions for Star Trek CNET from
Yes.
Mattel and Screen Life. So.
Yes, which I was, I
You
own
did?
that.
Wow.
I was
Yes, I
excited
did.
to have, but then you came over and, like, I can't play with you.
You cannot play with me.
Yeah.
I can referee.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've got this new Picard show. Picard is back, which is awesome for all of us that he is our captain. Just basic thoughts.
I loved it. I loved it. There have been some Debbie Downers. some people were complaining about the pilot, and it's like specifically Entertainment Weekly's reviewer did not like the pilot or the other hours, and it's like, dude, it's got like a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, so you're an outlier.
Wait, isn't the pilot the only thing available though right now on CBS All Access?
The press
Oh, the
are
press
usually
screeners,
given
yeah.
Okay.
are usually given the first 3-4 episodes of a new show, and the world premiere they did at ArcLight Hollywood was the first 3 episodes edited together as a seamless movie.
And you know where else they did a premiere?
In London.
And where else they did a premiere? San Diego in the Comic-Con Museum
Oh, really?
Oh.
on January 24th and 25th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I wish I could have been there for that. On my
Yeah.
birthday?
Yes, it
Was
was.
it on your birthday?
My birthday was Friday the 24th, so this show premiered on the 23rd. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And also on Friday the 24th, we got a look at the new Space Force logo, which is basically Starfleet, so, you know.
When you have Space Force's party.
I feel like I was getting so many presents.
Derek, what about you? Because you got ready for this. You guys were watching movies.
Yes,
Tell us about your
so
process.
my
Yes,
wife-
you made your wife catch up.
My wife Laura has been slowly making her way through The Next Generation. She just finished it around Christmas time, finally watching All Good Things.
How many seasons were there?
7.
7.
We all did.
178 hours.
Thank you. 178
Trivia.
episodes. And then after that, we had 4 Next Generation movies to watch. So we watched Generations while we were in West Virginia with my family. We watched First Contact.
Love it.
Shortly after that, when we were together at the beginning of this year, and then Insurrection when my mother and aunt and Laura's parents were visiting in town, and then we just watched Nemesis over the weekend. We started it Friday night, and then couldn't stay up too late because I had an army weekend and had to be up early. And then Saturday night we finished it, and then watched the first episode of Picard. We just rolled right into it, which was
Nice.
the best. And all of a sudden, all the characters had aged, 18 years, but still, it was pretty great. And when I say all the characters, I mean Picard, who is the one who showed up again. And of course, you do see some vision and dream and memory things of Data, but it is Brent Spiner, and they've done their best to make him look the same because an android's not
I
gonna
think
age.
they've done a pretty good job.
They did-
for,
they
you
did
know,
do a pretty
They
great
did a
job.
decent job.
But if you watch Nemesis and then watch that back to back, you can see that
Yeah.
some of the stuff
Wow.
they've done.
They'll explain it.
Yeah, and just got to put this out there. Some of these movies, there are things that I remembered, and some things I didn't. And to be honest, I enjoyed them this much more going back and watching again.
Nice.
Like Nemesis, I think actually holds up better than I thought it would.
Really?
Seriously?
Seriously,
I know, because that was the lesser.
Wow.
so many people like
That was the franchise killer film.
Yeah, it was.
no, but watching
Tom Hardy's
it again.
first film that I ever saw him in.
Yeah, Tom Hardy, who's like a baby in it, and
Yes.
really tiny, and yeah.
He didn't
Before
do Bane
Venom.
voice with it.
Yeah.
By the way, for those of you who are watching, just to let you know, we are going to be discussing Picard a little bit more in detail, and we will be having spoilers. So
Yes.
just be warned.
Spoiler alert!
All
We
right,
can get into this now. So
well, let's get into this. What did you think?
I really did enjoy it, and I was always cautiously optimistic and a little apprehensive because you always hear different things from different people, and I've not been able to really love Discovery. I mean, it was entertaining, but I wasn't super into it.
Have you seen season 2?
I haven't.
Dude.
Because I didn't bother getting CBS All Access again because
I just got it this week to watch Picard.
yeah, exactly, because I care more about that, and I think I will watch season 2.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Yeah, season 2. I mean, Anson Mount is a revelation as Pike,
Okay.
and they actually do an episode which is a sequel to The Cage, and they do previously on Star Trek, and it's clips from the original Cage,
Get out of here.
and they do
Oh,
and they
that's
do a
cool.
match dissolve from
That is
Jeffrey
cool.
Hunter to Anson Mount, and it's a great episode. I mean, I can't say enough
the
about
actor
that
Anson
sounds
Mount.
great.
Okay.
Anson Mount,
Okay.
who plays Pike.
Right.
Yeah, he and why can't I think of his name? Ethan Peck, and then they didn't use her enough, but Rebecca Romaine is number 1.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
And the short treks, the season 2 of short
Those
treks.
look interesting too. So I mean, there's stuff I'll have to check out.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to be talking about
The
Picard,
last
though.
short trek, by the way, is a quasi prequel to Picard, so you need to check it
Okay.
out. Children
Okay.
of Mars.
Oh, so we'll have to see that. Okay. But yeah, so that some of the things that I thought about Discovery, like even though it's fun, the drawbacks, the things that kind of take you out of the world are the way things are just so redesigned and the way. I know you're rolling your eyes at me, Tom, because your opinions are always better.
Rolling my
Yeah.
eye. It's like, dude, you
So glad Katie's between you guys.
I'm just saying it is like when you're watching something, it's a little distracting when you have these inconsistencies. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like it's not a show killer for me. But it takes away from the experience just a little bit. And so in Picard, like that was one little downside was just the way the look is so different, and it looks like it's just the design and the style seem like it's not fully the same world we saw before. Yes, it's 18 years later, but it looks like it's 50 years from now instead of 400 years from now. Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
That's a little thing.
What do you think of Starfleet Archives being redressed Anaheim Convention Center?
It's okay. They've got to film it somewhere. But I'm just putting out the little bit of negative so I can talk about the positive too. All right, Patrick Stewart is pretty much my number one favorite actor, and he's still great in it. And the show did have some fascinating, unexpected things. I didn't know where the plot was going, and then they had some other stuff thrown in there. We end with some really interesting questions. We
Loved
see, a refitted Borg ship that's kind of been
Okay, that blew my mind at the end.
That was great.
So it ended with the Romulan base of operations is a retrofitted Borg cube.
Yeah.
That's
And
Yes.
so there's a whole lot we've got to discover still.
Yep.
Besides just the mysteries they've raised in the plot, we're still figuring out what's been happening in the world for the last 18 years.
I thought it was interesting how they get us into the action right away. So we start with Picard because you got to lead with your star.
Right.
Then we get
Yeah.
the mysterious young woman who needs Daj, who needs his protection, which is great way. Get some action in, and then we start delving into why does he kind of think she looks familiar, and she's like, I have visions of you, and the reveal that she's bum bum bum.
She's in a painting that a certain best friend android of Picard painted
Protege
like 2 or 3 decades prior.
previously.
Yeah, something like 20 years before.
So it is the daughter of Data.
Maybe.
Well,
Maybe, we think.
Well,
Something. There's some connection to Data. We don't really know what yet. Data did have a daughter in one episode, which is also one of my
Lal.
favorites. Lal, yeah.
which is called The Offspring.
Yes.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting
child.
is, no, the child was.
I know.
The
That was a different
mysterious.
episode.
I know. Anyways.
Recycled from Star Trek Phase 2, but let's not go there. What I thought was interesting was how they tied in the backstory, but it was just that backstory. The fact that everybody assumed in Nemesis that when Data sacrificed himself to save everybody, a la Star Trek 2, that,
Yes.
we've got this other Data-like creature named B4, so obviously B4 will be the new Data.
Well, and because Data had tried to download all his memories and copy it into there.
Right.
And we just got a little hint at the end that he was going to maybe slowly develop and discover
And
some
that
of
was
those
the
memories.
gold Data, right? Wasn't his face gold when they opened up the thing or
Oh,
whatever?
well, his face is always supposed to be gold.
Yes, his face is
Okay.
like white and kind of a
And
gold sheen to it.
Before we go on
Okay.
too much further, let's hear from Cheeseman on the couch as a non-Trek fan.
Well,
As a
no,
civilian.
I grew up watching
not
Next
that he's not
Generation,
a fan.
although I
it's not that
haven't
you're not a
seen
fan.
it in my adult life. And I watched
that
the
quite
Captain
a-
Kirk and the Spock one. I mean, my
Yeah.
dad was a huge fan, so I did.
What did you think
grow up
of
watching
Picard?
it? I thought it was really good. The storytelling I thought was really good, and the cinematography and the special effects.
Yes.
From a filmmaker standpoint, I was really impressed with the acting. I really feel like they're trying to compete with Star Wars and the way that they're kind of doing stuff, and what the are they called blasters and all that?
Phasers.
Phasers. I don't know. I really felt like it had a good overall vibe that's really going to compete with, the Mandalorian and the other stuff going on.
You watched
so
it
I
twice,
definitely
actually.
liked it. I did, yeah.
Yeah, I think it does have potential to be really great. We've only seen one. We've just seen the pilot so far, but I'm really anxious and excited to see what happens next.
Yeah,
which is
like
what a pilot's supposed
They're
to
going to
do.
bring more of the original character, which they've kind of teased in some of the trailers.
Yes, I'm excited about that
and all
too.
that. Yeah.
What's interesting, I was at the New York Comic Con panel for the Star Trek Universe, and Patrick and the producers said, Alex Kurtzman specifically, they're not doing a Next Generation reunion show.
Right.
As plotline dictates, they will bring characters back.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a fun little invitation that aired.
Well, we'll show that in just one
Yes.
second.
Okay.
But Katie, you had a question?
How many episodes are there in this season? Because
I've
I
heard-
don't know how CBS does it.
I've heard 10.
Okay, gotcha. Because with Disney Plus, it's been varied, but they're still weekly. So I was just curious if they had said how many were.
Discovery did 15 season 1 and 13 season 2.
Okay, so 10 to 13 usually seems like even what they're doing for CBS as well, right? Okay, gotcha.
And they're releasing on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Which I think most of the streaming services are starting to go to that
Good.
model.
Yeah.
Which
You know
I
what?
really like.
Cool.
Gotcha.
But and you know what though? The thing I loved about this is Jean-Luc Picard always he was a Renaissance man. He was always so sophisticated and worldly. but he's sailing through the stars. They start in his vineyard in France.
Yes.
They start with the grapes and the vines and the suns, and even
is
the
perfect for
Chateau
so many reasons.
Picard.
Chateau Picard, and it's so beautiful. Even though the
They
poster
had
for
Jim
this-
at Vineyard.
they had me at vineyard.
Yeah.
Even the poster is him in his vineyard and his dog number
Number
one.
one.
And I just love the way they just grounded it. It feels very real, and it's not just all CGI'd. And it's great. And they worry about and the thing that's really interesting that I think the story that they're setting up is, according to Picard, there was synthetic beings had an outbreak, or they had an attack on Mars.
Which we see in the short track.
In the short track, which in other words, people like Data, not Data, but people who were like Data attacked. They had an outbreak, so they are now outlawed.
Sort
They've
of
all
like
been
Data.
sort of like
No one's quite been able to mimic the technology that Dr. Soong developed.
which was so cool. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. It was Data's so far beyond but so that's the premise of the series. Like Data-like beings, lesser beings, have been outlawed, and now Picard has to figure out who is this quote unquote possible daughter of Data. Why is she here? Why are the Romulans trying to kill her? And it's really, I think, a very intriguing story.
I mean, the implication from the pilot is that Maddox did recover some of Data's memory, and they did.
I love that.
And they used this, cloning technique to reproduce, to reproduce Daj and her sister,
Right.
Sochi.
Right. You gonna pitch to the clip?
Yes, so we did have other exciting news related to the series right before the pilot episode aired, when Patrick Stewart made a guest visit on The View.
And this is it.
So let's, watch at least part of this.
Right. I'll play some of it, y'all. We can't just play all of it, though.
Oh no, we're just playing
We
like the,
understand.
like just the.
Play the good part.
It's for you, Whoopi.
Oh, for me.
Alex Kurtzman, who is the senior executive producer of Star Trek Picard, and all of his colleagues, of which I am one,
Look at that hair.
want to invite you into the second season.
See, that's
Yeah,
really cool.
that was-
So Picard comes on.
Yeah, so he was on The View, and he just made a formal invitation right there for Whoopi Goldberg to come and reprise her role as Guinan.
Guinan.
Yeah, which would be awesome. And Guinan wasn't in every episode. She showed up starting in the second season, and then she was kind of a recurring role.
She was like
wasn't
in
there all the time.
60-some episodes of the
She was in a
178,
lot.
though.
Yes.
And who are some of the other original characters or other characters of the Star Trek universe who we saw previewed who would be in the series?
Well, we
this
already
year?
know
Riker and Troy.
Riker and Troy. Who did she ever take his name? I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know, but we know that they're going to be there. We see he's going to visit them at their home, which is great.
So they're still
we
together, which
know-
is awesome.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
We know that Jerry
With child.
Ryan
Okay.
is showing up as 7 of 9
From which series though?
from Voyager.
Star Trek Voyager.
Yes.
She was the best character from Voyager.
She was a great character. She was, formerly Borg, and they managed to rescue her basically, and it made for some interesting-
Repatriate her.
But apparently
Yes.
she's very, very human now. More human than Borg. Like she acts because in Voyager she was very almost like Data, like very mechanical and Borg-ish. But
Where
now
she was
it
the
was-
character through which we explore humanity.
she's the Spock character.
Yes, and she was gradually becoming more human again in a lot of the character arc over the course of those seasons.
Annika
And
Hansen.
So now she's been around a lot more. Maybe she'll go by Annika. That would be great. But we'll see. And
Yep.
that'll be interesting for her and Picard to meet, and we can see how they interact when they both have experience of having been Borg before.
And
And
Hugh Borg.
is he actually going to be in it? Because
Yes, he
okay,
is.
I was not sure. I know he's been in a bunch of the stuff related.
confirmed.
Good. That I'm also excited about. When we went through the series, that might have been Lara's favorite episode. Was I Borg? She
It's
just loved
a
the drama there.
controversial episode because some people accuse it of ruining the Borg.
Which
Really?
episode was this?
It's called I Borg. I, Borg.
It's where the Enterprise crew encounters. There's a wrecked Borg shuttle or something. There's one survivor. They bring him on board and save him and nurse him back. And they introduce this idea of individuality into him because he's not connected with the whole Borg network right then. And they're-
Collective.
Yeah, I know, but I'm speaking in layman's terms here so that Jim and Luke understand.
I've watched every episode. I've watched every episode of Star Wars except for Deep
yes.
Space Nine.
Star
Star Trek.
Wars.
Oh my gosh.
Did you just?
I will never let
just
that down.
swore
Star
in.
Trek.
Fan.
Star Trek. Star Trek. Star Trek.
Jim,
Star Trek.
we love you so much.
We
I
love you.
was a big Star Trek fan. I was a huge
Prove
Star
to yourself,
Trek fan.
Jim. Can you do this?
I can't do those things.
You just did
You
it.
just did it.
I know I can.
That said, Hugh is a really fascinating character. It'll be really cool to see how he plays up. Because when Laura saw that episode, she kept wondering if he was going to come back at all because that was such an interesting concept. And I was like, sorry, Laura, it's the 80s. They didn't really always bring back the really interesting characters.
But he did have a profound effect when we.
He did have an effect on the board, yes.
And as we kind of like wrap up this part of the episode, why is it, and Derek and Tom, if you guys explain to us, why is it that a Borg cube seen at the end of episode 1 is so significant?
Well, the Borg were some of the most dangerous and frightening enemies we saw in the Star Trek universe, and then they were pretty much taken care of at the end of Voyager.
But to Picard in particular.
To Picard in particular, he at one point was assimilated and then was able to be rescued.
He became their spokesperson.
Yes.
Locutus, and at the Battle of Wolf 359, Starfleet was decimated, that ties into the pilot of Deep Space Nine. So
Yes.
it's a big freaking deal.
I guess I should watch Deep Space Nine.
Dude.
And so, like, apparently, though, there's always some lingering... in the films, it showed there were lingering effects from his time with the Borg. His mind had been affected.
Yes.
And he flashbacks and PSD and...
PTSD.
I'm getting it all wrong tonight.
and they retconned the Borg Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All
they
right.
do sell Picard wine. If you go to the website, it
That's
is,
right, they do.
What is it? It's like StarTrekWines.com or something like that.
Fantastic.
They're selling the Picard wine. And also, AfterBuzz has a show on the Picard after
Yes,
show.
there
to
is a
check
Picard
out
after
as well.
show on Thursdays after the show airs. You can catch that.
Yeah. And Derek hopes to be on it.
I might be,
For those
I might be able to
listening on the
visit at
show.
some point.
I produce it.
Oh, Ryan's the
Yeah,
producer.
Ryan.
There we go.
Memo to
Where's
Ryan.
your sunglasses?
Yes.
There
Caught in
we
the
are.
act.
Caught me. But yeah, it is. I produce this every Thursday at 9 p.m. Check it out on the main channel.
All right, fantastic. So,
That's AfterBuzz TV.
yep. Anything else real quick before we wrap up here, guys? Star Trek.
Just I cannot get enough Star Trek.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You know, even if this pilot absolutely sucked, I would still be checking out the next episode.
I would too.
But it didn't. So I'm definitely checking out.
I'm
the
with you.
next
You know how
episode.
everybody always argues about who's the best captain? I think
Well,
it's
it's Picard.
It's hard to argue against Picard being the best captain. So
It depends what you want for a captain.
If you want,
Picard.
leadership
I
and
want
somebody
Picard.
who can actually, protect his crew.
If you want to
and-
say who's the worst
and do
captain is,
diplomacy
it's definitely Lorca.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
You opened a can of worms there.
I know. Okay, real quick, we have 30 seconds
Okay.
on this one. Of the 4 Next Generation films, which is the order best to worst?
Ooh.
Oh, easy.
Okay.
8.
Wait, no. Name
Say-
the,
you need
say
to
the
say the
name.
title.
Oh,
because a lot of
sorry.
people will be
First
confused.
Contact best.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
The worst is, for your opinion.
Worst Nemesis 10.
So the 2 in the middle?
Generations is such a patchwork creature.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the bridge film between the two
Yep.
crews, and Insurrection really feels like an extended TV episode.
I like
Yes.
Generations a little bit, though.
That
but
would be cool if they bring Shatner back for Picard.
Shatner's death was in Generations, right?
Yes,
Which I thought was... I did not like his death.
it was extremely low tech.
Yes, it was. All right. That is...
Sorry, can
go
I
ahead.
just give
Yeah,
mine?
please.
All right, because
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, here's the thing. On rewatching them, I like them all, and I still love them. So First Contact is my favorite, and then Generations, and now that I've seen them again, I would say then Nemesis and then Insurrection.
Oh, really? I'll have
Yes.
to watch Nemesis again.
Yeah, it's worth rewatching. Like, because watching it again, I'm like, wow, this is still better than any of the Star Wars prequels.
Whoa.
You're just trying to start a war.
That-
Yeah,
Whoa.
I would
trying
say
to start a
light
war.
years ahead.
I might... I might... What do you think, Ryan? Those are fighting words, don't you think?
I think Derek needs to chill out.
Speaking of Star Wars, Ryan, what's the Star Wars show that we have here in Popcorn Talk?
Star Wars show is Star Wars News every Thursday at 4 p.m. with myself and Steph Sabra. So check it out.
So we can fight about it there. Oh, Star Trek and Star Wars are both on Thursdays. I think the fight is on. All right. So what we're going to talk about now, by the way, you can check out Picard every, Derek?
Thursday nights.
Thursday nights.
CBS All Access in 10 episodes, and it is back for season 2. Do we know how many seasons it's going through? Is it 2 or 3?
Patrick said he'll do 3.
2, 3. All right. So we can... Hopefully we have 3 good seasons ahead of us. All right. So right now, what we're going to do, we are going to give a preview to the top 10. Wait. Before we jump into we're going to jump into the top 10 Comic-Cons of the year. But Derek, every once in a while we miss some smaller cons, and just real quick before we do the giant ones, why don't you give us a list of some of these smaller ones?
Let's read this list right
Okay.
here. Okay, so some smaller cons coming up that you may or may not have been aware of. January 31st through February 2nd is Amazing Con in Savannah, Georgia,
Which Katie told us
gave us
about,
a little
yeah.
bit of a, or excuse me, an Amazing Con in Savannah, Georgia, which Katie gave us a rundown on just a little bit ago. Then February 7th through 9th is Star City Anime 2020 in Roanoke, Virginia. February 14th through 16th is Gallifrey 1 at the Los Angeles Airport Marriott.
It's
which
sold out.
I believe is sold out now.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
if you don't have Valentine's Day date plans, but you have a TARDIS, you can go back in time and get tickets.
Buy a
and things.
ticket and then go.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, I love that.
February 20th through 23rd is Supernatural Official Convention at the Rio Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada. And February 21st through 23rd is Anime Crossroads in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I should say that even though Gallifrey 1 is a much smaller convention than what most conventions you go to, its influence is outsized. It is the big.
It's the biggest Doctor Who convention,
Yes,
as far
it
as I
is.
know, right?
Yeah, and if Ben was here tonight, he'd be just singing his praises because people at work are going, Ben's going, and then they've got who's the doctor that's coming this year? Do you guys remember?
Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston.
It's a big year for
Who?
number 9.
Nine.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
nine. Number 9.
All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the top 10 Comic-Cons or Comic-Con and fan conventions of the year. And by the way, this is it sounds like I got to hurry up and say it. This is not in the best to worst or biggest to smallest. We're going chronologically which one comes first in the year. And so that's how we have decided to break this up. So the number one, so the very first one of the year, Thomas, is
C2E2.
no.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is
February
You did
28th
them
through
wrong.
March 1st.
Because you can read.
And it's by Reed Pop. This is one of the only ones on this list I have not gone to before.
Oh, I think I'm wrong. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think
What?
that's wrong. I think that date is wrong. I'm so sorry.
You think the dates are wrong?
I think
on our
those
list?
those two dates are wrong.
Those two dates are wrong?
I think. Okay, let's look
Let's
real quick.
talk about
the
it, and then
first-
we'll figure out the
You
date.
look it up while we,
I'm gonna look it
while
up.
we talk about C2E2.
Talk about E2E2, which is the biggest in the Midwest.
Yes.
That's Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. We say C2E2 because it's CCE.
Chicago Comic
Yes.
Entertainment Expo.
Usually over 65,000 people at McCormick Plaza Convention Center. As I think did you just say this as the same spot as Star Wars Celebration?
Same spot, yeah. Largest convention center in the country.
And the C2E2
McCormick
Crown
Places?
Championships
Yeah.
of Cosplay is the largest and most prestigious cosplay competition in the world.
No, these dates are correct. Fantastic.
Look at that. Yep. So that is the first one, like chronologically on this
Yes.
list. Yeah.
Although it says it starts the 27th, I think.
But you know what's cool about C2E2 is it. You talked about the big cosplay convention, the big cosplay competition. Like Reed Pop has about 4 of these conventions on the list, and this their cosplay competition is through all of their big conventions, and this is the grand finale. It happens in February, so they kind of quote unquote end their year in February.
Nice.
It's
Oh,
kind of
interesting.
a cool way to do it.
And then start in March with Emerald City Comic Con the next month in Seattle, Washington.
Yep.
I have been to Emerald City a couple times. It's cool. It's a nice mid-sized convention.
It has around 98 to 100,000.
Considered mid-size?
Which is a sad for a mid-sized.
That's considered mid-size?
It's
Well,
large.
compar-
It's grown.
Okay.
Compared
Okay.
to big to San Diego.
Well, yeah, but
Comic-Con.
I assumed
Yeah,
that
but-
large, so I still consider 100K large. Okay.
That's a lot of people.
It's that many people?
It says 98 to 100K.
Yeah, 98 to 1,000.
It doesn't-
That's what they had last year. They had 98,000.
It does not feel that big.
Okay.
Maybe it's grown since I haven't been in a couple years.
Oh, okay.
And what's significant about Emerald City that you can?
The panels, they were really good.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of her name? She played Glory on Buffy.
Yep.
Renee Zellweger.
No.
No.
Claire Kramer.
Yes.
Claire Kramer moderated a lot of the panels the last time I went to Emerald City, and she really did a good job. And the first time I went, it was much smaller. So
The one thing about
know what?
it
I
got
think-
bought by Reed Pop
I think when it got bought by Reed Pop,
a couple years ago. They
boom.
But you know the thing that Emerald City that most people say it is the creators conference. In other words, it is built for comics creators, and it's very friendly for comic. That's how it's always been. Now that it's getting so big, I'm sure they might be changing a little bit. But I know that Rick Bond, who's been on our show before, he goes up there every single year just to. You're friends with Rick.
I ran into Fiona. I was wearing Finn. She was dressed as Ray, and so I often do Ray. And it's like the last time I'd seen Fiona, she was a baby, and it's like,
This is your
Fiona,
daughter?
by the way, Fiona is Rick's daughter.
And one of my cinema students now.
Yep. So Rick teaches over at the university. So it's really cool. Also, this year, Pop Asia is a new show feature at Emerald City, and it's all about K-pop. It's all about entirely dedicated to anime, manga, K-pop, and more. It's really cool. So that's a really cool part. What's the next one on the list coming up in April?
WonderCon.
And Katie's kind of filled us in on this. It's the sister convention of San Diego. It's around 60,000.
Badges on sale now.
Yep.
Masquerade, I forgot to mention this. The Masquerade entries are now being accepted. And the deadline is March 23rd.
Right.
So if you guys have never been to a Masquerade at Comic-Con or another convention, it's basically a cosplay contest, but a little bit more extravagant than that in the sense that people make these ones specifically for the Masquerade, and they have like a performance element to them. So they always like perform them or walk about and do a little show in them, and then they can range from anywhere to a single costume to a group costume. And there's different categories and different awards depending on who they get to bring in for the awards.
And don't you think that WonderCon in some ways is a better atmosphere for cosplay?
Yes. WonderCon, so for people who are interested in cosplay, WonderCon is a good one because there's a lot more space. And at San Diego Comic-Con, you cannot do big costumes. They will not fit on the floor. So at WonderCon a couple of years ago, they had Ed Doc Ock, and he was moving around, and that's not something you could do at San Diego Comic-Con.
Right.
So it is nicer. It's there's some more spread out areas, and then they have the food trucks outside. So you do have more food options, I think. Like, yeah, you have downtown San Diego, you have options, but as far as next to the convention center, they have all sorts of food trucks set up. So that makes it easy if you're coming into the con and haven't eaten, it's good.
It's also easier to get a hotel right there, right
Close.
next door to the
Yes,
convention
correct.
center, so you can just walk back and forth.
And, you have Disneyland right there anyway, so there's also one somewhat closer too.
And I think you said that the hotels are on sale right now for WonderCon.
Yes.
I know we've got ours. Well, actually, we got a couple of them
Reserved, yeah.
We got a couple of them reserved. So
Yeah,
all right.
and it's run by the same company as Comic-Con too.
Correct.
So you're getting some of the same panels that will cross over. So I was talking to somebody recently who hasn't been to a Comic-Con. I was saying you definitely should try to go to a WonderCon because you'll
Yes.
get kind of a little bit of that Comic-Con feel, but in a smaller thing that, like you're saying, that's not as crowded. But they have big panels come. Like, wasn't Shazam?
Yeah.
there,
Last year,
like, last
Shazam
year?
had a panel, but they did a screening, a surprise
special
screening that
screening.
I went to.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, Zachary
and
Levi
you
showed
don't
up.
have to really camp out, and it's easy to get
Yep.
kind of in the arena. So it's definitely one people need to go to if they're looking to get into the Comic-Con
Yeah.
stuff.
And I know we want to hurry up, but Luke, also one of the things that's so great about WonderCon is for those who are kind of new to the conventions, what happens every night in the Hilton?
Mixers and people just hanging out. It's a little party there with the people that are panelists and the attendees, and it's just real close to the convention center.
Right
Yeah.
across the street from the convention center in the Hilton. Most of the industry shows up there. It's a cool place. If you want to meet the creators, meet everyone on the panels, they usually are at the Hilton in the bar, in the lobby there. It's a
And
really
especially if you're looking to get
convenient
into
spot.
comics and stuff
Yeah.
like that. A lot
Yeah.
of the people that you could meet.
And
be
next
good
on the
there,
list,
yeah.
April 16th to 19th. This is kind of like a semi-new convention. It's been going on for like 5 to 10 years,
Oh,
right?
it's been going on for a while.
MegaCon Orlando has?
Oh, yeah.
I did not know it was
No,
that old.
MegaCon Tampa is the newer one.
Yeah,
but Orlando's been going on.
have you
for-
been to this one yet?
I've been to MegaCon, many times.
I did not know that. So, because it's the Southeast's largest comics and fan convention, well over 100,000. But, and it's really grown by leaps and bounds. It seems this past couple of years,
Yeah,
though.
their big draw this year, they've got all 4 Hobbits.
Yeah, which is really
Which is like,
amazing.
what?
Elijah
There's
Wood
three,
and all.
actually. There's 3 movies. I'm joking. Sorry.
You just.
Waka Waka.
But
All right. So, because the next one after that is one that's kind of very close to selling out. The next convention is what, Derek?
Star Wars Celebration,
All right, and that's
August 27th to 30th in
And I'm
Anaheim.
going.
Are you serious?
Ryan's
So
going?
I bought tickets in April.
Well,
Oh,
it's a
wow.
good thing because
April.
like the 4-day passes are sold out. Saturday's sold out.
Is Jim going?
Friday's sold out.
I know I didn't get a 4-day. I only got 2-day.
Thursday and Sunday are still open. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I will be there. I'm pretty sure you probably will be too.
Never been.
All right. So anyways, I'll be interested to know what the big thing is at Star Wars
I
Celebration
was kind of
this year.
disappointed with Celebration
In
this year.
which one? In Chicago?
Yeah.
I met you in Chicago. Or did we meet?
Well,
No,
here's-
I didn't see you.
Here's the question, though. So, with the recent highlight of the Kenobi delay, do you
Right.
think we're going to even get anything? Do you think we're going to get any footage?
Yes.
Yeah, we're,
Mandalorian, probably.
We still have.
You instantly got Ryan's attention with that.
Yeah, okay.
You still
I'm
have Rogue
excited.
Zero, as I call it.
What's that?
Untitled Andean Castar.
But they haven't started
Cassian
filming that
Andor.
one yet. Have
We'll
they?
probably have something by
We'll
then.
have news. We're going to have some
They'll have
Kenobi news.
something.
They'll have something by then.
Mandalorian, from what we
Season
understand.
2.
By the way, we had a guest at our show 2 weeks ago who is on the first season of Mandalorian. He's also on season 2 of the Mandalorian, and he says they are almost wrapped on season 2. And we cannot tell you, but he told us some secrets about some characters. We're like, are you kidding me? So it's
Maybe some surprises.
some surprises that he could neither confirm nor deny. All right, yeah. All right, so what is next after Star Wars Celebration, September 17th through the 19th? This is a big one too. FanX Salt Lake Comic Convention. It's in Salt Lake City. They had over 127,000 participants, and this is the convention that got sued by San Diego
Yes.
Comic-Con.
Formerly known
changed
as
their name.
Salt Lake City
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
And so right now they're called FanX Salt Lake Comic Convention. Their name is still in flux. They still might change it, but right now the passes are only $43. I think.
good.
Yeah. So all right. After that is the biggie, Katie. What is the next one after that one?
San Diego Comic-Con,
Yes.
which you guys will hear us talk a lot more, so I don't really know that we need to emphasize this. We all know it's the biggest one
Yep.
in California and one of the biggest ones in the United States. Sold out, good luck going, but we'll still give you all the updates.
For those 135,000 of you who
Yes.
are going, we will be going all into the details of that convention. Tom, after San Diego, September 3 through 7, there's a big one that you usually go to.
Dragon Con.
And real quick, what makes it special?
It's Nerdy Gras.
Yes. It's a 5-day convention in Atlanta, Georgia.
It
They have
used to be a 4-day convention.
Now it's 5
they've
days.
grown. They have about 85,000. And the thing that's significant about Dragon Con is they split up into tracks, which is very cool. I've never heard of another convention doing that.
I moderate panels for the American Science Fiction and Fantasy track.
You do?
Yes.
And will you be back this year?
Yes.
All right. So that's one that I have not yet been to, but I really do hope to get to. After we have 2 more to go. September 25 through 27, Derek.
That's LA Comic Con, which is over 120K people. It's independent and it's at the LA Convention Center.
Yeah, it's one of the last big, giant independent conventions, which is really cool. And I always like going with Derek because this is one of the conventions that Derek really does go to town with his cosplay. So it's
I
always
have
fun.
a bit because it's a little easier for the ones that are this
In
one because
LA.
it's so close.
Right.
Um,
And then finally, rounding out the year, we have one that has grown into I call it the Beast in the East. It's the big monster convention. Tom?
New York City Comic Con. Okay, these
October 8th through the 11th, and I know
That's
the numbers
overall.
The numbers
are disputable.
Are disputable because they count
per day.
per day.
Yes.
Right.
Versus per person.
Right. And so the thing about this is another Reed Pop convention. How old is New York Comic Con?
Reed Pop took over it about when they took over it, they moved it from spring to fall.
Right. And it's in the Javits Center in New York City.
It's been within the last decade because I went to I think the last one that was in the spring, and then they shifted it.
And the thing about this one, it feels like a lot of people are there because you're a little bit more condensed.
You're
is what I've heard.
crammed into
I haven't been
spaces.
to this one.
There's a lot of overflow. They use the
the garden.
Yeah, Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden. They have the Hulu Theater there.
Yep.
That's where the Star Trek Universe panels were, and
that's where the
world
Walking
premiere
Dead
of Harley Quinn.
and the Walking Dead panels are usually there in the garden. So that's a big one, and it's the thing that's really cool about it. It is becoming more of an industry focused one. If there were 2 on this list, that we would call the industry conventions: San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con. Those are like the 2 anchors of the industry. Real quick, honorable mention. This is not one of the top 10, but Phoenix Fan Fusion. I think that's a really good convention to go to. It's the one where a couple of years ago they had the unfortunate incident of a gentleman showed up with a gun, and they kind of their numbers have suffered some, but they are recovering. So I encourage people. It's a really good small convention. Katie?
Also, you always forget at Anime Expo. It is the
When
biggest
is it?
anime convention, and it's
4th of July
on
weekend,
4th of
right?
July weekend. You forget it every single year.
Okay, so let's call that number 11. We're going to add that to the
Yes.
list. That's one of it's the biggest anime convention
Yes.
in the country.
Yes.
4th of July weekend. Yes.
Are
and
you
go
saying
to that,
Con
right?
Guy goes to 11?
So,
of course.
The top 11. Top 11.
but
Guys,
yeah, so that was all I was gonna say.
we do have to wrap. Thanks for watching. My name is Jim. I'm the managing editor here on theconguy.com. Who else did we have tonight? Where do we find you?
Hi, my name's Derek. I'm a contributor to theconguy.com. Sometimes I'm on Twitter. Sometimes I'm just on theconguy.com. But if I am on Twitter, I'm at ConGuyDerek.
And I'm Katie Kawamoto. You can find me doing the social media for both the Con Guy and the Scare Guy. My personal is on KT_Christine, or you can find me on the Batwoman or Riverdale after shows over on AfterBuzz TV on Sunday nights at 10:10 for Batwoman and 9 o'clock for Riverdale.
She's
on
one
Wednesday.
busy lady.
I'm Tom. You can find me on Twitter at TomDaveLA, THOMDAVELA, and also on the Flix66 podcast, FLIX66.
And that book, just buy that
And
book up.
Hailing Frequencies open, $20 for the digital download from Amazon.
All right.
And I'm Cheeseman on the Couch. You can find me on Twitter at CheeseOnCouch and on theconguy.com. And also, we just got news from our friend Brad that Ewan McGregor did a panel for Birds of Prey and said that Kenobi hasn't been pushed back that
He said it's
far.
not, IGN reported it's not been pushed back that far. It'll still be on schedule, but they've never released what that schedule is. So that's good news. Also, check out Behind the Red Nose. It's a podcast my friend Jeremy does this week. He interviewed the makeup person for Joker. It's a really good. It's been nominated for an Academy Award. It's a really good interview. Behind the Red Nose. It's a podcast about clowns. It's awesome. All right, we will see you guys next time. Like us, subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and leave good comments. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.